The moment I saw her phone light up at 2:17 a.m., my heart froze. Can't stop thinking about tonight. You were incredible. The name flashing beneath the message made my blood run cold. Ethan, boss. For a second, I thought I was dreaming. I blinked hard, waiting for the words to rearrange themselves into something innocent, something I could live with. But they didn't. They glowed bright in the darkness, cutting through the silence like a blade. I lay there, motionless, feeling the warmth of Emma's body beside me. She stirred slightly, turned away, and mumbled something in her sleep. My wife. The woman I thought I knew. I didn't move for almost an hour. Just stared at that tiny screen until the message faded and my reflection stared back, hollow eyes, clenched jaw, a man who had just stepped off the edge of his world. Morning came too fast. Emma hummed as she got ready for work, the same way she always did. She looked radiant, her hair tied loosely, perfume soft and familiar, like the scent of trust, if that had a smell. She smiled at me across the table. You're quiet this morning. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Rough night. She nodded sympathetically. You've been stressed lately. Maybe take a day off. Her tone was calm. Sweet. Too sweet. And for the first time, I noticed something in her eyes, a carefulness, a calculation. It wasn't guilt, not exactly. It was control. The kind you use when you're trying to manage a story. As she walked out the door, I caught sight of the same dress she'd worn last night to the office party. She hadn't changed when she got home. She'd just showered and slipped into bed, saying she was exhausted. Now, I wasn't sure if exhaustion was the right word, or satisfaction. I drove to work but didn't make it past the parking lot. I sat there gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. My mind was a carousel of images, Emma laughing beside Ethan, her hand on his arm, the way his eyes lingered a little too long. At the time, I'd brushed it off. She'd told me he was just friendly, that he respected her professionalism. But last night, when she didn't answer my calls for hours, something inside me had already started to rot. I opened my laptop and searched for Ethan on LinkedIn. His grin mocked me from the screen, confidence oozing from every photo, the kind of man who thought he was untouchable. Married too, apparently. Perfect. Then I did something I'm not proud of. I opened our shared cloud storage and scrolled through the photos she'd backed up from her phone. I'd never snooped before. Never had a reason to. But curiosity turned into compulsion, and then into nausea. There they were. A series of selfies from the party. Her lipstick brighter than usual, her hand clutching a glass of champagne. Ethan's arm casually around her waist in the background of one. Another photo, taken later, just the two of them, closer. His tie loosened. Her smile. Different. Intimate. There was one more photo, the last in the sequence. It wasn't explicit, but it was enough. Her head resting on his shoulder in the backseat of a car. Her eyes closed, his hand visible near her thigh. Timestamp. 12:42 a.m. I sat there in silence, the hum of the engine the only sound in the world. The betrayal didn't hit me like thunder. It seeped in like poison, slow and burning. I wanted to scream, to confront her, to make sense of it, but I didn't. Instead, I called our lawyer. I asked him to prepare the divorce papers. It wasn't anger. Not yet. It was clarity, a terrifying, surgical kind of clarity that only comes when something inside you dies. When Emma came home that night, I was waiting in the living room. She looked startled to see me. You're home early. Yeah, I said, watching her set her purse down. Long day. She exhaled, brushing her hair from her face. Exhausting. Ethan made us stay late again. You'd think he owns us or something. She laughed lightly, but I told him I needed to go home. You know, to you. Every word scraped against my chest. I see, I said quietly. You and Ethan seem close. She froze mid-motion. What's that supposed to mean? I saw the photos. Her eyes flickered. What photos? The ones from last night. And the message. The silence that followed was worse than any confession. She didn't ask what message. She didn't even deny it. She just stood there, breathing too fast, eyes darting between me and the door like an animal cornered. "David," she said finally, her voice trembling. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." She opened her mouth, then shut it again. A single tear rolled down her cheek, ruining her perfect mascara. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It was one night. I was drunk. He took advantage of how things were between us." I let out a bitter laugh. "You mean how you told him I was distant? How you needed someone who understood you?" Her lips trembled. "I was lonely." "So you celebrated that loneliness with him all night?" She broke down then, sobbing, reaching for me, begging me to understand. But all I could see was her head on his shoulder, her laughter, that text glowing in the dark. I stood up, walked to the drawer, and pulled out the manila envelope I'd prepared. I handed it to her. She stared at it for a long time before whispering, "What is this?" "Freedom," I said. "Or maybe consequence. Depends how you see it." She sank to the floor, the papers slipping from her hands. "You're ending this over one mistake." "No," I said softly. "I'm ending this because you ended it first. I just didn't see it until now." Her sobs filled the room, each one cutting deeper than I wanted to admit. I still loved her. God, I still did. But love without trust is like trying to breathe underwater. You can try, but you'll drown eventually. I walked toward the door, hesitating for just a moment. "Ethan can celebrate with you again," I said quietly. "But this time, you won't have to come home after." When I stepped outside, the night air hit me like a slap. It was cold, sharp, real. For the first time in months, I felt alive. Not happy, just awake. I didn't look back. Because some endings don't need words. They just need silence, and the courage to walk away from the wreckage you didn't create. That night, her text came in around midnight. "Please, David. Can we talk? I made a mistake." I stared at it for a long while, then powered off my phone. The message faded to black. And so did she.